Alright guys, so I just want to make a quick video picking up from the Fab 4 yesterday that I made. Um, the Fab 4 being the first thing I do in pre-market before the market opens. This is what I look for to give me a bias, right? And that's just this little box here. If price opens above this box like this, then I will be looking for longs. If price opens below this box like this, I will be looking for shorts. That's my bias on the day, so I'm just picking up from that. If you want a detailed video of that, check out the last video. But I'm just kind of picking up on this one because we don't enter just because price opened below the box. Same for above. And I got into that yesterday, but I didn't tell you what to look for in order to enter after price opens in whatever direction you want, up or down. So let's just say you fully understand the Fab 4, and now price is opening under it, which was here, so now we're looking for shorts. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to dive into my entry events. Okay, this is 5 things I look for. Really only 2 are my bread and butter, but there are 5. But so I'll go ahead and dive right into this. Number 1, elephant bars. Okay, elephant bars or power bars, however you want to call it. Really, is up to you. Elephant bars, power bars, doesn't matter. What this is going to be are these right here, and this green one here. And the reason being is because you can see how much bigger they are than all the previous bars. Like this bar is way bigger than that. All technically this bar would take out all of these bars here. That lets you know that there's power. That this is a power move here. Usually when you see these moves, you will get a continuation in the direction, which would be down here. You know, same for this one. There's power in this move because it's bigger than all of these last 5 bars, taking all of them out. Same for this one. The only thing is it's got a wick at the bottom. I'm trying to stay out the wicks. That's all the small details. We don't want to get into that. But you see how there's no wick here. There's not really a wick here. Not really and not really. It's just all power. So when you see those all power bars with no wicks and are just absolutely solid bars, usually you get a move in the downward or in the upward direction depending on, the direction of the power bar or elephant bar. Power, elephant, whatever. The meaning is big. So this is an entry event. If you were to see this underneath a this were to open like this, let's just say, all the way down, and then it were to close like this with the solid white bar, you could enter anywhere in this bar, anywhere down here, and most likely you'll get this same outcome of this direction. But we just got a different entry event on this one. I'm just giving you an example of what it could have been. So if you would have gotten a power bar there, you could just enter on the power bar. Once this bar is way down here, you know, okay, this is power. I'm entering long here. Don't wait for it to close. Don't wait for it to confirm, because the power's there. The power is the confirmation. You don't need the close. Okay, that's just an example of an elephant bar, a power bar. Okay, that's the first entry event criteria, a good one. These are not really in an order. I'll let you know which one I like the most. Okay, the next one. This one right here is very difficult to find because it doesn't happen very often, but I'll just kind of draw it and show you. But when you get a power bar, an elephant bar, just like this, let's say, and let's say this is red or white in my case, whatever, it's going down. Say that, and then immediately you get the opposite bar of power that engulfs this bar, and this bar is the opposite color. So this one's red, that means this one is green. Okay, this is a bullish engulfing 180. Right? Think of a sun right here. If a sun was giving rays to these candles to grow, the green's getting all of the rays. Right? So when you see an engulfing 180, when you see this, as soon as you break this high, you enter long. Same thing with the bottom here. Soon as you break the low, you enter short. Right? That's a one. These don't happen too often because they're like 85 to 90% follow through rate. When you see these, they're they work, right? But it's hard to find a full power elephant bar in a 180 engulfing with very little wicks. It's hard to find those, but you can. But you can. Um, okay, so the next one would be tail bars, and I have an example of this. There's multiple examples, but here's a small example here. This little tail bars here. When you get these two candles right next to each other in the right location, that be right on a 20 SMA or maybe on a support or a resistance area, whatever you're looking for, this usually will continue in the upward direction as well. This is just a entry event that I look for confirmation if I'm looking for a good entry. And we get two tail bars on the 20 or whatever. I'll dive into that later, but just focus about the candles right now. The two tail bars. These are strong indications that price wants to move in that direction. And the opposite would be, these right here. You get two of these back to back. These are also tail bars. They're just going to probably continue in the downward direction instead of this upward direction like these. Right? So this is just another thing I look for in my entry event. Okay, now this is the main one I look for. This is 90% of the trades that I'm taking are color change engulfings at or near the 20. Okay, and that's going to be, I've got plenty of examples of that. I took a trade this morning from that. Microsoft right here. So we'll dive into this. We saw the price open below the Fab 4, which is here. We don't enter just based on price opening below the Fab 4. What we do is we wait on an entry event. In this case, I was waiting on a power bar to the downside, or I was waiting on a color change engulfing at or near the 20, right? That's what these highlighted boxes are, as you can see. The reason being is because this is a green candle here, and the very next candle was a white candle that took out the low of the green candle. When that happens, you immediately enter. Only when coming from a narrow state, which is what we're in, this SMAs, the 20 is curling down and the 200 is above. Okay, we'll dive into that later, but I'm just showing you an example. This color change right here is very key and happens all the time at or near the 20 SMA, which is this orange line here. We got another one here. As soon as this white candle breaks the low, you enter short and you place your stop directly above the entry event or above the 20 SMA, whichever one you're comfortable with. But if you keep it here, your risk is so tight. And then you get an immediate drop down to new lows of the day. This is my favorite entry criteria. This is the bread and butter of my trades. You can see here, again, we got a nice color change. Not ignore this one. It's this power bar here. This white took out this green. You enter right at this line, place your stop here. That's how tight your stop is. And then boom, you immediately get a push down in the downward direction. Same with here, another one. This white candle took out the low of this green candle. You enter right there, place your stop here. This is your risk. And boom, this is your reward. This is exactly what I look for every day. This is bread and butter. I'm going to dive into this in another time, another video showing you all the narrow states and the 20s above the 2, and I'll dive into that later. I just want you to get familiar with looking at how this white candle here took out this green candle. That's an immediate buy whenever you see that like that, and prices, opening below the Fab 4 in the short direction, and you get one of these. That's an entry event. Take out those lows, you enter there, your stops here, and then all the way down. The only thing is this wick obviously is ridiculous. It didn't close, so there was no confirmation, but most people would have been out of that. I don't know what happened there, but that was wild. But as you can see, the bias is still down. The bias is still short. Sellers are still in control here today so far. So that's the color change engulfing. Bread and butter, love that one. That's number one. And then the other one will be the RBI and the GBIs. That's pretty much just the ignore. So you'll see right here, you get this nice white bar right here, and then the immediate bar after that is just a small color change. It's a very small in comparison to the previous white bar, but it's a green candle, and then immediately after that green candle, it gets taken out. The low gets taken out by a color change candle, which is this one. This is just a green bar ignore example. A green bar came in here, but price totally ignored it, and the next candle was a power candle to the downside. That's just so whenever you see the break of that green right there, that lets you know the market's ignoring that green, and it's going to continue to push down to make a new low. That's just, it's more so self-explanatory on this one. An RBI would be the same thing. It would be a red bar that would be ignored and went right to the upside. Kind of like this here, but I would like to see more power on these two candles here. But you get the idea of the green and then the one color and then the green again. That's a GBI or an RBI, red bar ignore, green bar ignore. So nothing too crazy with that one. You can also get into gift zones. I love gift zone entries. They're phenomenal. It's a way for price to give you an opportunity to get into the trade again, I guess you would say. And I have to. An example of that would be kind of like this here. Hold on one second. I'm sorry. Kind of like this here. You see how? Come on. You see how right here, this green bar, this is a power bar here. This is a big power bar, this one here. Whenever the next candle after that, it came down into this bar a little bit, right here. This was red. This green candle here, it was red a little bit right after the forming of this green, and it pulled back into, that's why you see that little wick right here, because it pulled back into price. And whenever it did that, that gives you a little opportunity to add long. This is called a gift zone because price is gifting you another opportunity after this power. It comes down back into it a little bit. You enter long right here. Place your stop 50% of the candle or directly under the candle, whatever is comfortable with you. And then you'll move back to the upside on that. This is a gift zone entry. I love these entries as well. I'm going to dive into these in detail on another video going into my strategy even further. I really want to go into the color change 220 because it's just so powerful. But this is just a video picking up on where I left off yesterday because I gave you guys the know-how to mark off this Fab 4, and then I was telling you throughout the video, but you don't enter just based on the price opening below or above. But we'll talk about entry events later. This is that video. So if price were to open below and then you get a color change, you can enter short. Or if you were to get a power bar, you would enter short. Or if you were to get bottoming tails, you would to enter short. Right? So I'm just showing you the entry events that I look for after price opens below my Fab 4 pre-level marked. Okay? All right, guys. Nothing crazy there, but keep it kind of short. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Until next time.